Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi amma ba'du. Welcome to another episode of Freedom in Islam. We've dealt with quite a number of issues up until this point, and we're about to go into bi'idhnillah azza wa jal, the last third of this blessed month. So in these last 2 days, we would like this opportunity, inshallah, to be taken to deal with two very critical aspects of freedom and Islam. And we want to talk today, inshallah, about the connection between al-haya'u and its relationship to the concept of freedom. As we've been mentioning consistently, freedom in the Islamic narrative does not mean that a person does not have any restraints and he is allowed to do whatever he wants to do. Whether it hurts other people or doesn't hurt other people, as long as it feels good and okay to him, then he is allowed to do it. We explained, inshallah, very clearly and definitively that freedom in this religion is the servitude that the slave gives to Allah Azza wa Jal, where he becomes a slave of Allah Azza wa Jal, and he has no problem with worshiping Allah with ikhlas and also worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal in a way that Allah has legislated. And one of the legislative aspects of this religion is the issue of al-haya. It is an extremely aspect of the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. The Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that al-haya and al-iman are muqtaranan, that they are together. If one of them goes, the other one is going to go. Al-haya means modesty, being modest and being shy. He said that they are together. If one of them goes, then the other one goes. To show you the Islamic perspective and connection of al-haya as well, is that our father Adam, salawatullahi wassalamuhu alayhi, when he was in the Jannah and he approached a tree that Allah Azza wa Jal prohibited him from approaching, he came to know of his nakedness, him as well as our mother Hawa, both of them. They realized that they were naked. And the natural response to that, because it was built into their fitrah, is that they went and they started to try to cover themselves with the leaves of the tree. And the reason for that is al-hayat, for a person to be naked without any clothes and to walk around in that way, it is something that is abhorrent. It's natural. Bani Adam, they don't have to be taught that. Only if the hayat is destroyed would a person not have a problem with walking around in public without any clothes on, or walking around in a way that he or she is revealing to all to see their aura. So the fact that Adam, alayhi salatu wassalam, put the leaves of the tree on himself in order to cover the nakedness of his body is a proof and indication that al-hayat is from the religion. It is something that is from the fitrah. Fitratullah allati fatara an-nasa alayha. It is the fitrah of Allah that Allah Azza wa Jal has created the people with. The natural disposition to act a certain way. The natural disposition, you don't have to be taught. The natural disposition where you respond to certain things in a certain way. Al-haya is from the deen. And from the proof that is from the deen is that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he mentioned, al-iman bid'un wa sittuna shu'ba, a'laha qawlu la ilaha illallah, wa adnaha imatatul adha 'an at-tariq. وَالْحَيَاءُ شُعْبَةٌ مِّنَ الْإِيمَانِ. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, may the peace and blessings of Allah forever be upon him. Al-Iman, faith, it is 60-something branches, 60 degrees. And another hadith, it says 70. It is 60 or 70-something degrees. The highest branch of faith is your statement, La ilaha illallah. Not just the statement, but also working by that statement. Because La ilaha illallah is the miftah of al-Jannah, as some of the scholars of the past used to say. La ilaha illallah is the miftah of al-Jannah. But every single key it has his teeth or his asnan. So the person has to know the conditions of La ilaha illallah. The person has to work by La ilaha illallah. Ala kullin, he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, faith is 60 something branches. The highest level, the highest branch of faith is saying La ilaha illallah. And the lowest level of al-iman is picking something harmful up out of the way, getting it out of the way of the people. If someone were to see something that was harmful in the street, something that's harmful on the sidewalk, and he walked by it without giving a care concerning it, then he didn't even have the lowest level of al-iman. And that's because of the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, la yu'minu ahadukum hatta yuhibbu li akhihi ma yuhibbu li nafsihi. None of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. So he doesn't want to get hurt by that particular thing. Al-Iman necessitates and it dictates that he has to remove it from the pathway and the walkway of other people so that his brothers won't get hurt. If he doesn't do that, then he doesn't come with the lowest level of Al-Iman. So this particular hadith said that the highest level is La ilaha illallah, the lowest level is picking up something out of the way of the walkway. And he said, and hayat is one of the branches of Al-Iman. So there's no doubt left in the mind of the Muslim who is aqil that there is a wathiqa, there is a serious connection between Al-Iman and Al-Hayat. From the clear indications and proofs that they are connected is that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam mentioned in an authentic hadith, inna min kalam an-nabuwwat al-ula idha lam tastahi fasna' ma shit. From the kalam, the words, the speech of all of the prophets who came before me, what all of the prophets told their people was the statement, if you feel no shame, then do as you like. إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحِ فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. That hadith can be understood in two ways. From the eloquence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as from the way he used to articulate himself. He was given what he said was the jawami' al-kalim. He said about himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, utitu jawami' al-kalim. I have been given the jawami' al-kalim. And the meaning of that is the ability to say a few words, but they have far-reaching meanings, far-reaching implications. Many benefits come from the few words that he were to speak, that he spoke, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wasallam. So if you look at that book, the 40 hadith of Al-Imam An-Nawawi. Al-Imam An-Nawawi, he just didn't bring 40 hadith out of his hat. He only wanted to bring the hadith and gather them in his book that he considered from the Jawami' al-Kalim. Those hadith for the Muslim who, if he doesn't memorize the Quran, but he looks at these hadith and he comprehends them and he understands them, he'll get a good working relationship with the religion of Al-Islam. Because these words in 40 hadith, they're from the Jawami' al-Kalim. The Jawami' al-Kalim. So this hadith from the kalam of the prophets, the first prophets who came, is that if you feel no shame, then do as you like. One meaning is that if you're in doubt as to, should I do this particular thing? You're not sure. Should I do it? Should I not do it? And you're a decent human being. You are a person who has some taqwa. You have some iman. You care about your image in society. You care about the way people look at you and how they view you. You're not an individual who has just thrown caution to the wind and you're reckless and negligent. And you say, I don't care what people think. If you're not that individual, but you're a person who has deen, you have taqwa, and you care about the censorship of others, and you're wondering, should I do this thing? Should I not do this thing? The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you feel no shame, then do as you like. Because al-iman and al-hayat, if it was a problem, they would prevent you from doing that particular thing. If you had any hayat about it and you were shy about it, then you're not going to do it. The man came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, tell me, what is al-ithm? What is sin? What is the sin? What is the sin? How do I know something is the sin? He said, al-ithmu ma haka fi sadrik. Ma haka fi sadrik. When aftaka bihi nas. It's that thing that stays in your heart. It goes back and forth. Even if the people say to you, nah, don't worry about it. What you did was okay. What you did is okay. The fact that it's still bothering you, it's in your mind, provided you don't suffer from wiswas. You can't be a person who suffers from wiswas. But let's say that you were to do something. You said something that embarrassed you. It made you feel uncomfortable. And you just kept worrying about it and kept thinking about it. A person was in the assembly or the majlis and he heard what you said. He said, nah, don't worry about that. It was okay. You yourself know because it stays in your heart. That's the Prophet's words said. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that this is the itham. So in the hadith, if you feel no shame, then do as you like, because your hayat will prevent you from doing the issue or the deed that is shameful. The other meaning, it carries a negative connotation. If you feel no shame, then do as you like. It means that if a person doesn't have any hayat, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. He'll say to his mother words that are inconsiderate, and they are words that are unacceptable. He'll find himself in a compromising position. She will find herself in a compromising position. In the month of fasting, the month of blessing and barakah, the month of maghfirah, the month in which Allah Azza wa Jal emancipates more of his slaves from the knot of Jahannam. In this month, the person who doesn't have any hayat, in the month of Ramadan, he will carry on in a way that is not acceptable. In a way that is not acceptable. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, we'll come back to conclude or to add on more to this most important topic of al-hayat. See you when you get back after the break, inshallah. Welcome back. As we were speaking prior to the commercial break about the issue of al-hayat and the connection of al-hayat and the deen, al-iman, and the connection of al-hayat and iman to freedom and the understanding of freedom in the religion of al-Islam. The connection is clear. As we were mentioning before the break, if a person doesn't have any hayat, if he doesn't have any hayat, then he's going to do whatever he wants to do. Freedom to him is let it all hang out. Don't hold back anything. Throw caution to the wind. Just think about the culture of me, myself, and I. Don't think about any consequences. Don't think about any ramifications. It's all about fulfilling one's desires. That's the freedom to an individual. And the only person who thinks like that is the one who doesn't have any hayat. The person who goes to a beach, a communal beach, a community beach, a public beach, and part of the culture of some of the people is that men and women go to the beach, and the beach is an exclusive beach. It's exclusively for those people who want to show themselves and the nakedness of themselves. So the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is correct, and that is said, if you feel no shame, then do as you like, because they don't have any hayat. Their father Adam, our mother, when they saw that they were naked, this was something that went against their fitrah. So as a result of that, they came and they went to the tree, to the Jannah, and they started taking the leaves off of the tree. وَتَفِقَ يَخْصِفَانِ عَلَيْهِمَا مِنْ وَرَقِ الْجَنَّةِ. They went and they started to put on themselves the leaves of the Jannah before the knowledge that they received, after they approached this tree. Before they approached it, they didn't have any knowledge of their nakedness. But once they approached the tree and they transgressed, may Allah forgive us and forgive them. Once that happened, they realized, hey, we're naked. And upon realizing that, immediately they wanted to cover themselves. Now their children come and they say, hey, don't bother me. This is my freedom of expression. This is my freedom. I'm free and I'm okay with myself and my nakedness. And this is something that the popular culture applauds. But freedom in al-Islam says, la kalla. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, istahyu min Allahi haqq al-hayat. They said, Ya Rasulullah, inna nastahi min Allah. He said, be shy of Allah. Have hayat, the real hayat. The companion said, we do have hayat. And then he went on to explain to them what is the real hayat. Because hayat to some people means one thing, and to others it means something else. But what is al-hayat in al-Islam? What is al-hayat in al-Islam? He said, istahyu min Allahi haqq al-hayat. The true, the real hayat. Which goes to show there's one that is real and there's one that is not real. One that's acceptable and one that is not acceptable. It's like some of those ayahs of the Quran. Ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi. Fear Allah with the true fear. The true fear. Not your interpretation of fear. His interpretation of the fear. I know some people who they fear Allah Azza wa Jal. How? By slaughtering for other than Allah. I know some people in the UK who they slaughter and they cook the food, and they actually believe that the souls of the dead people from their relatives who are Muslims, they come on the last Thursday of every month and they eat the food in the house. That's a taqwa in their opinion. But is that the taqwa that Allah commanded? So the ayah said, ittaqullaha haqqa tuqatihi. Fear Allah, the true feeling. Another ayah said, alladhina yatuna al-kitab haqqa tilawatihi. Those people who read the book correctly, they really read it. Like the one who reads it with the tajweed. Like the one who reads it and he practices it. Like the one who reads it and he gives it the correct interpretation. There is a person in the YouTube culture. He read the Quran for Salatul Tarawih. They called him Ferrari Imam. The car, Ferrari. He read Surah Al-Fatiha so quick, he finished it in one nafis. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah. And in one nafis, he read all of Surah Al-Fatiha. That's not reading the Quran correctly. So the point here is that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam told his companions and told us, ittaqullaha haqqal hayat. Fear Allah or have hayat, the true one. They said, we do. And then he explained. He said, man yastahi min Allah falyahfidh ar-ra's wa mal wa'a. Anyone who has hayat, let him protect the head and what goes inside of his head. Let him protect the head and what goes inside of his head. Let him protect his mouth and what comes out of the mouth. Let him protect his limbs and what emanates from his limbs. Meaning what? He cannot expose his mind to any and everything. He cannot expose his mind to pornography. Akramakumullah. He cannot expose his ears, his eyes to any and everything. The Prophet said, Istahyu min Allahi haqqal hayat. Be shy, the true, the real shyness, moderation. Let him protect his head and what goes into his head. And the head, it includes the ears, the eyes, the mouth. Let him have hayat in regards to what he eats. Where is the hayat if he's eating food that was purchased with money that's haram? He stole the money. It's money from gambling. It's money that he usurped and he took from an orphan. He took money from people who are his close relatives. His job is a job that's haram. He works in a place that sells khamr, for an example. So let him have hayat and let him not put that in his mouth. Let him not listen to those things that are haram. The person says, I have hayat, and he's engaging in the haram left, right, and center. That's the meaning of the true hayat. That's the meaning. And it clearly shows and it indicates that hayat is a door that shows the Muslim you're going to be an individual who's going to exercise freedom. But again, it's the freedom that we've been talking about. And that is the freedom that has its boundaries. It has its boundaries. As for some other issues concerning al-hayat, the malaika of Allah Azza wa Jal, they have al-hayat. And the awliya of Allah, they have hayat. What's the dalil for that? Many proofs. One of the proofs is the fact that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting in his home and Abu Bakr came and permission was given to him to come in. He came in and he sat on the well where the Prophet was sitting. And he had his feet inside the water of the well and his clothes were all the way rolled up on his thighs and his knees were exposed. And then Umar radiallahu anhu sought permission to come in. Permission was granted. He came in. The Prophet and Abu Bakr stayed in their position and the Nabi left his garment above his knees. And then Uthman, Dhu Noon, Dhu Nurayn, he came in, the possessor of the two lights, because he married two of the daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ruqayya, he married, as well as Kulthum. So Uthman came in. When Uthman came in, or when he knocked, they said, it's Uthman, ya Rasulullah. He said, hold on, don't let him in. And then he rolled his clothes down and he covered up his knees, and then he allowed him in. After the three of them left, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, they left. Our mother Aisha was inquisitive. She was a student of knowledge. Anytime something happened with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they wanted to know what happened, why did he do this? Why did he smile? Why did he do that? Why did he change his position? They would ask the question, trying to learn about the sunnah, trying to learn about the religion. So she said, Ya Rasulullah, when my father Abu Bakr came in, you stayed in your position. And when Umar came in, you stayed in your position. And then when Uthman came in, you changed your position and you covered your awrah, you covered your knees. Why did you do that? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, أَفَلَا أَسْتَحْيِي مِنْ رَجُلٍ تَسْتَحْيِي مِنْهُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. Should I not be shy of a man who the malaika are shy of? Should I not be shy of a man who the malaika are shy of? So the malaika of Allah Azza wa Jal, this hadith shows that they have haya, they have shyness. And it's a really important point that we understand this, that the malaika, they're shy to see us doing certain things. The malaika are shy to see a person, for an example, having an illegal, illicit relationship. The malaika are shy to see us disobeying Allah, especially those disobediences that are really big transgressions, like for an individual who is a practitioner of homosexuality. The person is subjecting the malaika who are with him and with the other person and the other malaika. They are subjecting them to witness that. The malaika, they want to see khair. If they're forced to see other things, they'll see them because they have to be there to write down and to record. They happen to be there. But they don't want to do that. The malaika are drawn to al-khair. The Prophet, he said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, majtama'a qawm fi bayt min buyutillahi yatluna kitabullahi wa yatadarasunahu baynahum illa nazalat alayhum as-sakina wa ghashatuhum ar-rahma wa nazalat indahum al-malaika wa dhakarahum Allahu fi man indahu. There are never a group of people come together in one of the masjids. They read the Quran. They learn the Quran collectively. Whenever they do that in any masjid, no matter how big, no matter how small, when they do that, the sakina comes down over them. And the malaika come down and they surround them. And the rahmah of Allah Ta'ala ghashathum, the malaika and the rahmah comes around them. And Allah Ta'ala mentions those people with the other malaika who are with Allah. So the point of that hadith is that it goes to show that the malaika, they like to come to the good places like the masjid, like where the dhikr of Allah. They like to hear the dhikr of Allah. If someone is sitting and he's reading the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, then the malaika, they stop, they listen to that. As for seeing an individual rob a bank, seeing an individual, like for our young people, he's not married, she's not married, and they're masturbating, for an example. The malaika, they don't like to be witness to these types of things because it's something that you wouldn't do in front of the other people. You wouldn't do it if you knew that other people were looking at you. And that's why the Nabi, he said about al-hayat, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, istahyu min Allahi kama tastahyuna min al-rajul salih min bani qawmik. Have hayat from Allah the same way you will have hayat from a man who is righteous from your people. There's a sheikh, or very respectable, honorable personality from those who we know, our acquaintances, an elderly uncle, someone. You're not going to act anyway in front of that man. And inshallah, Azza wa Jal, we'll come back to this issue in our upcoming episode because of its seriousness and its importance. Brothers and sisters, istahyu min Allah. Be shy from Allah. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.